So I want to jump up here really quickly and make another quick video. This will be a 5 in 5. I'm going to try to get it within 5 minutes. However, I do have a lot of information that I want to share in this video. This one's going to be on the Afro Peruvians, the African slave descendants of people that are still living in Peru. Before I get into that, let me first give a shout out to my boy, my good friend, my homie, my Hebrew brother, Larry, who recently gave a donation. I want to thank you publicly for your generosity. It's much appreciated, and may Yah bless you for your donation to help further the work that Yah has put on me in my heart to do. So let's just get right into it. So as I said, this is going to be on the Afro Peruvians, and I'm going to do it try to do it within 5 minutes. I ask that you forgive me if I don't get it within 5 minutes, but I will certainly definitely have it within 10. So the first fact that I want to pull out, and again, I found these facts just from doing a basic search online, and they're pretty long, so let's just jump right into it. So the first Africans arrived with the conquistadors in 1521, mostly as slaves, and some returned with colonists to settle in 1525. Between 1529 and 1537, when Francisco Pizarro was granted permits to import 363 slaves to colonial Peru, a large group of Africans were imported to do labor for public construction, building bridges and road systems. They also fought alongside the conquistadors and soldiers and worked as personal servants and bodyguards. In 1533, Afro-Peruvian slaves accompanied Spaniards in the conquest of Cuzco. So slavery in Peru started there very early. The next one is 2 types of black slaves were imported to Peru. Those who were native born in Africa were commonly referred to as bozales, unskilled or untrained, which was also used as a derogatory sense, or in a derogatory sense, which brings to mind the scripture Deuteronomy 28:37. You will become and be known as a byword and a proverb and a horror to all nations, which the Most High has driven us amongst. These slaves could have been directly shipped from West or Southwest Africa or transported from the Spanish Indies or other Spanish colonies. Afro-Peruvians previously acculturated to Spanish culture and who spoke Spanish those who spoke Spanish were called Ladinos. Some were of mixed race, descendants of Spanish men and African women, which reminds me of another verse in Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 30, where you will betroth the wife and another shall lie with her. People of color performed skilled and unskilled functions that contributed to the Hispanic colonization. So much like the same type of slavery that we had here in the Americas, in the UK, in the Caribbean, we built, the countries that we were amongst. Fact number 3, in the social hierarchy of the slave stratum, the black artisans had the highest rank due to their skills. They worked as carpenters, tailors, blacksmiths, swordsmiths, and silversmiths. This group enjoyed more freedom than their fellows who worked at large haciendas or in private households. Small Spanish business keepers would dispatch a whole team of servant artisans to do a job independently and then return to their owner. As the prices for artisans rose, black artisans gained better treatment and sometimes took a role of low-ranking employee. Skilled trades were a major avenue of social progress for the colored population. Due to their high skills, Afro-Peruvians gained prestige among Spanish noblemen. They occupied a relatively low stratum but had some status related to the natives and were considered as the emerging class of the mestizos, or descendants of indigenous people and Spanish colonists. So basically that was a very long fact, but basically what I was saying is that African slaves that had the trade of their hands, artisans and things of that nature, they began to gain some type of notoriety and recognition amongst their people. They were still looked down upon in society, but they were able to kind of gain some kind of something they could be proud of because they had they were considered a little bit higher than the actual typical slave who probably did domestic and field work and housework and working with animals and so forth. Fact number 4, in the early colonial period, Afro-Spaniards and Afro-Peruvians frequently worked in the gold mines because of their familiarity with the techniques. Gold mining and smithing were common in parts of Western Africa from at least the 4th century, but after the early colonial period, few Afro-Peruvians would become goldsmiths and silversmiths. And that reminds me of the Kanka Musa, Mansa Musa time period. And even still today, they still have gold mines where they go down to the ground about 6 feet with like a 3-foot wide hole. and they mined for gold. And so that definitely rung interesting to me, that the people of Peru came, the slaves from Peru came with the skills of already knowing how to mine for gold, because they came from West Africa, just like where we came from, West Africa here in the Americas and the Caribbean and so forth. Fact number 5, slave owners in Peru developed preferences to have slaves from specific areas of Africa believed to have certain characteristics. They wanted to have slaves of one area who could communicate with each other. They believed slaves from Guinea, from the Senegal River down to the Slave Coast, were easier to manage and had marketable skills. They already knew how to plant and cultivate rice, train horses, and herd cattle on horseback. The slave owners also preferred slaves from the area stretching from Nigeria to eastern Ghana. The slave owners' third choice was for slaves from Congo, Matinga, Cambado, Misanga, Mozambique, Madagascar, Terra Nova, who were probably brought in from Porto Novo, Benin, Mina, and Angola. So that was interesting to me because they wanted to have people that could communicate and talk again with each other, and that just rang very interesting to me because they came from the West Coast, and there was only one particular tribe from the West Coast or one particular group of people from the West Coast that went into slavery. We also know that there were Hamitic tribes that lived amongst that region before we came and settled in there from the Romans persecuting us. And so I just thought it was interesting that they made sure that they found the same people from the same tribe that spoke the same language. And then there were 2 little bonuses that I wanted to add here really quickly. So the first bonus is in 1856, President Ramon Castilla y Marquesado declared slavery abolished. Despite the gradual emancipation of most blacks in Peru, slavery continued along the Pacific coast of South America throughout the 19th century as Peruvian slave traders kidnapped Polynesians primarily from the Marquesas Islands and Easter Island and forced them to perform physical labor in mines and in the guano industry of Peru and Chile. And the bonus number 2, today Afro Peruvians are also known as Afro descent Peruvians, reside mainly in the central and south coast, with the majority of the population in the provinces of Lima, Callao, Nzaka, Chincha, Inca, Cañete. Many Afro Peruvians live on the northern coast in Lambayeque and Piura. The greatest concentration of Afro Peruvians and mestizos of Afro descent is in Callao, and an area that has historically received many of the Afro Peruvians from the north and southern coast. So that is my quick 5 and 5. I got it very well within the 10 minutes that I wanted to have it in. So I apologize for going over, but I won't speak any longer. And the next part of this is that I want to show you guys some famous Afro Peruvians, as well as just the local Afro Peruvians. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was a blessing. If it was, please like, comment, subscribe, and share down below. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.